Hello, and welcome back to Electrified Marina Podcast. I'm your host and producer, Brooks Lawson.
And Erick Pinzon.
We've got another great show for you today. Today is Monday, March 10th, 2025, and this show is brought to you by us at Electrified Marina and electrifiedmarina.com. Please check out our website and call our emails if you decide you have interest in buying a new boat or repowering an old one. And please post your questions and comments in the comment section on YouTube. So today we're starting out, Eric, by unveiling a new program that Electrified Marina just put together. It's a referral/ambassador program. You want to tell us a little about that?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting and kind of stealing a page out of Tesla's playbook. But, essentially people can refer other people to buy boats. And then we're going to sweeten the deal. If you're already one of our current customers and refer somebody to get a boat, you get a little kickback. So it'll range from 1% to 2%, depending on if you already own a boat or not. But 1% to 2% of a $100,000 to potentially $500,000 boat can turn into a lot of money. But it's essentially paying someone else to advertise for you and generate those leads. But a lot of our customers are kind of doing it already. So it's going to be pretty cool to reward them and keeping it going.
And so how does one qualify for the ambassador program? How do they qualify for the payment?
So ambassador programs, if you already got the boat, referral program would be for anybody off the street that wants to refer us. That, if they know someone, whether they're in the boating community, it's an influencer, or there's some people in the boating space that aren't boat salesmen or brokers, so they're not out there actually selling boats. So it might be a chef on a private yacht or an instructor at a sailboat camp or something. But we're going to have a sign up on our website that we'll be launching here soon, and people can sign up there, get a code, and just send out a referral code. And they know someone that's interested in an electric boat, they send them our way, they end up buying one, and we cut them a check. And it'll be available. It's funny, the same old bird dogging laws apply for the automotive and boating world, but you can't pay someone who's not it's a Virginia or Ohio resident. So 48 states, and then international as well.
So it's like a affiliate link. They get a link from you. They give it to somebody else. Somebody else uses that link to purchase a boat, and then they get a little cutback, a referral bonus.
That's it. And it's really interesting because a lot of these people, some of these people buying these boats are the first one on their waterway, whether it's their lake or their river, their area they're in, and they're excited. They're going to be an advocate for us and talk about this thing, give their friends rides. And now we're just going to incentivize them a little bit to do it, and they're going to make some money off of it. It could be pretty fruitful, but we've already had some customers selling some boats for us, and now we're going to start rewarding them for it, and looking forward to it.
Do you want to shout out some of your current advocates?
We haven't launched it yet, so we're still getting some pretty high-profile ambassadors set up with it. But I've got some people in Minnesota, someone in Colorado, someone down in Key West, maybe someone in Puerto Rico. So working with a few different people right now, and it kind of came organically by demand, and we're going to use it and see how it does. But I'm happy to pay people instead of paying money for ads or paying for the digital space out there.
Absolutely. There's like an infinite number of ways you can spend advertising money, and I think some ways are just clearly better than others.
Yeah, and it can happen so fast. I mean, it's crazy, and thankfully it's not too competitive in terms of Google words, but there's not too many people out there paying for electric boats for sale, but actually it's kind of hard to bid on right now because there's not enough people doing it.
All right, next up we got a recap from the Miami Boat Show. What did you learn there? What did you see?
Oh yeah, so I was down there, and we had a pretty big e-boat pavilion. Nautical Ventures put on the space. It was pretty awesome. They hosted a big happy hour, a ton of media, a ton of press there. We were doing boat rides, but there was we had probably 5-6 boats on the ground, maybe a little more. Everything from Vision Marine to a Flux-powered Highfield to an X-Shore there, and we were doing boat rides nearby. And we weren't in the best position in terms of foot traffic, but there was people that were searching for electric boats that had never seen one, never been on one, and, they'd make it over to our space, and it was just, oh, God, I'm glad I found you guys. And, we'd sit there, and it was great having all the boats nearby, because I represent everybody. So I'm pretty brand agnostic, and I could go through and just say, oh, here's the pros and cons of this one, and this one. And we would just walk through the whole thing. And then, by the end of it, we'd schedule them for a ride, get a demo, and they'd get to go out on the water, and whether they're, buying the boat or thinking about it, but it went really well. And then right after that, I went to the Carefree Boat Club conference up there with Vision Marine, and It was really interesting talking to some of these hosts. Some of these guys, 20, 30 boats in their fleet, and didn't know electric boats existed. It kind of blew my mind. And I was sitting there talking to this operator. This guy had 30 boats in his fleet, no fuel nearby. He spends like 15% of his labor on just refueling boats, sending a truck with a gas tank to the gas station, bringing it back, fueling gas caddies, running them down the dock. Just like a huge headache and a pain point to his business. And he's got 50 amp shore power in every single slip. So and a lot of times those guys, they have an interesting business model. They get boats super cheap, run them for a year or two and resell them. And, they get a pretty good ratio of members to boats. So they do really well in their membership. And electric boats just don't have the margins they need to get them at a crazy steep discounted price. So we don't have the economies of scale yet. But with the headache, the time, the fuel savings, there's going to be enough perks in the overall business operations that it's going to make sense. And it's also going to attract some new members to them. We're going to host a couple of events with some of these operators, and they're going to gain new clients because they're putting electric boats in their fleet. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get a couple more fast chargers probably deployed out there with Aqua Superpower. But yeah, a lot of these operators just didn't know electric boats, high horsepower electric boats existed. We were out there on a 30-foot Tritoon and an Aqua Sport, both of them powered by Vision Marine's 180E setup. And, it's nominal, or its average horsepower, 180 horsepower continuous, but peak horsepower is around 250. And we had this Tritoon loaded down with, I think it was 10, 12 people, and still cruising at 25 knots with a headwind. And everybody was just blown away. They didn't know they existed. It was the funniest thing. Everyone out there at the back of the boat at the same time, everybody recording because they'd never seen a high horsepower electric motor before. So it was really cool sharing the experiences with them, but also we're going to end up selling a good amount of boats from it because a lot of these operators have pain points of fueling issues, and in San Diego, they've got the entire bay and there's only fuel at the top of the bay and there's no gas stations, gas pumps, no marinas with fuel on the water down at the southern part of the bay. So there's a lot of areas where, it's a localized body of water. People aren't boating for 50 miles a day. His average boater's doing 10 miles down there. They're hanging out at the island and stuff, but the pain point of not having fuel nearby is very real. So it's going to be really neat to see how many boats we can get out there and how it really frees up time and energy and pain points for a lot of these operators. It's going to be interesting to see how it pays out.
Very exciting. I think they also had a pool at the Miami Boat Show, right? Like a tiny little pool you could demo boats in.
Yeah. They were doing quite a few of the little water sports toys and everything. So we were right next to that. It was pretty cool. And they had the jet packs and everything. And it was pretty cool watching them out there all day. But we were over there. There's a lot of the foil boards and the powered paddle boards too, electric powered paddle boards, but yeah, some neat stuff. But it was like this huge electric section and we were right in the middle of it. It was really, really well put together.
Do they have any electric full-size boats there on display?
Yeah. I mean, we had Vision Marine had a Four Winds H2E. We had the bigger X-Shore Elix. There was a smaller X-Shore in the water. And then the Flux powered Highfield was out there, and then the Vision Marine Fantail was out there too. But I mean, we had a full spread of them, and it was nice being able to walk people through the boats. And it's like, hey, this is what's available, and that's really what we want to do at boat shows going forward. Just having a full lineup of what's available in the fleet, and we're working more and more with all of the boat manufacturers so that our demo fleet is going to be super robust. And it's getting to the point now, we've got some upcoming boat shows and we're trying to figure out what boats we're going to bring because we can't bring them all. I think we're up to 11 or 12 boats now. It's quite a bit.
Let's talk about some of the technology from the Miami Boat Show. And I got a little thing up here on the screen. We have some audio listeners, so I'm going to describe what it is. It is called the Yamaha's Wireless Helm Master EX, and it is a remote control. It's a remote control for a boat. So there's a little display on it. It looks like kind of a joystick at the top. Some buttons that I can't really tell what. It looks like it has GPS. It has, where it keeps you going on in a single direction. what are your thoughts on this in general, but also as specifically as like a safety feature, like or taking safety into consideration?
Yeah, I mean, we've had joystick steering out here for a bit now. Just people just getting spoiled. It's like cheating when docking your boat, but everybody's going to do it. It's like people say that about having a bow thruster and now joysticks, and now it's a remote control. It's literally can't get any easier. But I'm pretty excited about it. I mean, it's just using Bluetooth. BLE's pretty secure, pretty well mastered. It's, not going to be any glitches, but, and the thing neutrals out into fail safe. It's not like that you're going to have a runaway boat. But I mean, if we do, it's going to make the news. But I'm sure Yamaha, with a company like that, took their time and got all the kinks ironed out with something as exclusive as a remote control. But I'm excited to see it in action. I'm going to keep my eye out for one, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah, I have no qualms about the technology. My qualms would be about the people that are using it, who would be kind of counting on it and maybe not so cautious and not paying so much attention. It's kind of like, Tesla and their autopilot or full self-driving where, oh, the car's got it, that kind of thing. That would be my main concern.
That's what I was going to bring up, the self-parking features or the summon mode when it first came out. And there's going to be some incidents. It's guaranteed. I can't wait to see them on Qualified Captain or boat fails. It'll be fun to watch.
There's another one. Mercury added a joystick. So this is kind of what it sounds like. It's a very large, looks like probably wireless joystick. Powering single engine outboards with a thruster.
Yeah. So including bow thruster control on it. It's pretty amazing what they're getting to with these things. And, it's docking a boat is one of the hardest parts, and they're making it easier and easier. And, people call them credit card captains, but it's going to make it easier for these guys to look good when they're pulling in and out their boats, that's for sure. But I mean, maybe there's a safety aspect to it too, talking about Tesla's autopilot system. It's like, it's better than the average driver already. Right. So is it really going to be that bad of a thing? A distracted driver is the worst kind of driver. So I think these joysticks are only going to make things better for people when you give the controls and let the the algorithm really figure out how much throttle it's going to give the thing and really take things under control.
And the last thing I have here, I haven't shown you yet, but it is just the strangest boat I've ever seen. It is the Stratosphere. And so this is a sphere with like a port glass looking out the front of it. It's a hydrofoil. So obviously it goes into the water, and there's motors on either side of the hydrofoil.
Yeah, so somebody asked me about this, and I hadn't seen pictures of it until now, and they said, oh, do you see the little hydrofoil? And there's a boat called a Sea Bubble that I saw in France when we were there. And I thought that was it. And they're like, no, just for two people. It's tiny and it's on a hydrofoil. I'm like, no way. That sounds nuts. And this is clearly what they were talking about. It is pretty freaking cool. Not sure how realistic or how useful it is, but it's pretty damn neat.
I'm not sure either. These all look like renders to me, but is this not the weirdest boat you've ever seen?
Can't wait to see it on the water. I funny enough, talking about hydrofoils, I rode on the Artemis while I was down there. It's a larger hydrofoiling boat, and we were in this thing. We haven't shared much on it yet, but it's essentially like 10 lazy boys, just recliners in this thing, and it's going to be like a luxury passenger ferry. Think high net worth people need to get across a river, and the bridge is gridlocked, and time is money, and you've got people transporting back and forth. But the Artemis boat was pretty dang cool.
Awesome. Well, next up we have a pretty big announcement, I would say, and that is Vision Marine Technologies strengthens partnership with Electrified Marina to propel electric boating on the East Coast. So tell us about what this article is about and your partnership with Vision Marine.
Yeah, so Vision Marine, for the longest time, they've been doing the just smaller, low horsepower cocktail boats, picnic boats, whatever you want to call them. And we sell a good amount of those. They're they sell really easy. Rental fleets buy them up like crazy. They're the perfect rental boats.
My favorite.
Yeah, but the 180E, their higher horsepower powertrain, they're signing a lot of deals with a lot of different manufacturers. Some European, some in the US, and their variety of boats is going to be absolutely massive. By the end of the year, they'll probably have about a dozen different electric powered higher speed boats. And we've been just having more and more conversations with them, and they are going to be a key player in the space and really be a force to reckon with the amount of different OEMs and boat builders they're working with to put their powertrain on. There's a lot of different powertrains out there, probably dozens at this point now. It's almost overwhelming. But not many of them are signing deals with OEMs and all the boat builders out there to really get the volume out there. That's what needs to happen. And Vision Marine is absolutely doing it, man. We're going to be getting more of their boats. We'll be taking them around here in our spring events that we've got here coming up. But we're looking to get more people out on these things and selling some more boats because they are absolute blast.
Awesome. So let's talk about some upcoming events. You get the Palm Beach Boat Show next week.
Yeah, literally next week we'll be down there, and it'll be an interesting mix. It's kind of last minute, kind of thrown together in terms of the electric boat side of things. But we'll be doing some sea trials down there. We've got some pre-scheduled sea trials. If anyone needs to go out, reach out to me. We'll have the Scout down there, powered by the Flux. Some Vision Marine boats. I don't think X-Shore is going to be there this year. But yeah, we'll have some boats in the water and out there spreading the good word about electric boats. We've got some other stuff coming after that. We've got the Bay Bridge Boat Show, which is kind of the spring Annapolis show, and it's over at like Kent Narrows, just out there on 50. And we'll be bringing, I think, 5 or 6 boats to that. It's going to be pretty big. We were trying to keep it a little bit smaller. It is a smaller show. There's probably only going to be like 100 vendors there. But that market up there is a huge boating market. Graysonville, Annapolis area is massive in terms of, boating in the boating space outside of, Fort Lauderdale or, I don't know, maybe Texas. Annapolis, Maryland area is pretty huge. So we'll have that event. We've got in April also the Northern Neck Boat Show. We're going up there. It's kind of in Irvington, Kilmarnock is kind of area by us. But they've got a lot of electric boat penetration because of a Duffy dealer that's been around forever. So we do really well up there, a lot of good interest. The conversations are different when people have seen electric boats for decades. They get it, they understand, they know the right use case, it makes sense, they know the benefits. So that education curve for us, that sales cycle is a lot shorter because they've been hearing it, they've been experiencing it, and now we're just there to help them upgrade their boat and get a bigger boat, a faster boat, and a more modern boat. They've a lot of people there with some older electric boats, and it's a lot of fun having conversations with people that have been around it versus getting exposure to them the very first time. So we always love going back to that area. And then we've got in May the DC Boat Show, and again another smaller boat show, but the market up there, the Northern Virginia, DC, Maryland market, their electric car penetration rate's super high, and that area. If in terms of boating, I think of it like, New England or, up in like the Midwest where it's, getting colder and you've got a shorter boating season. But, up there on the river in DC metro area, a lot of those people, if they're boaters, they're pretty hardcore boaters. They're out there for a reason. So people showing up to that show, they're just not showing up to walk around. You've got boat buyers there. So we're going to do a big happy hour on Friday night. We're inviting the Ford Lightning Owners Club, the Rivian Owners Club, the Porsche Taycan Club out there. So we'll be there all week doing a lot of media and a lot of influencer rides, but probably have 6 to 8 boats there. It's going to be a huge show. I'm actually trying to get a DC fast charger there because we're going to have so many boats. So hopefully we can pull that off because the amount of boat rides we can do goes up drastically if we've got a DC fast charger on site. But that one's in May. Yeah, I think that's our next 3 events coming up. The Bay Bridge Boat Show, Northern Neck, and DC in May.
And will you be personally attending any of those events?
I'll be at all of them. My wife doesn't enjoy it as much, but we've got a small team right now. I'll be there, and we'll have 6 to 8 employees, but I've got to get as much of my that's in my brain into everybody else on my sales team, all the product specialists. We've got some newer employees too, but there's a lot of information, whether it's boating information, EV information. There's a lot to absorb there. So yeah, I'll be at every event.
Well, our listeners know where to find you now.
That's it, man.
Next up, the Aqua Electric video finally debuted, Electrified Marina episode on Aqua Electric. Tell us about what that experience was like hanging out with Justin, what kind of guy he is, and what to expect from that partnership in the future.
Yeah, Justin is super cool. And I don't know if I'd call it a partnership. We're kind of just working together. Funny enough, I did try to hire him and he kind of turned me down. He just wants to stay organic and not be paid for by anybody. He wants to give an unbiased opinion, and I can respect that. He's just doing it for the mission, man. It's super cool. His day job, he's a 100-ton captain and moves yachts around all day. But he ended up having a move that ended in Norfolk, and he came and hung out for the week, and we had a little bit of, I'd say, warmer weather. I think it was like 40, 50 degrees when we went out and shot that video. But just hanging out with someone in the space, there isn't too many people that are, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but as savvy in the electric boat space, that I can have really good in-depth talks about the industry and where it's going and challenges and pros and cons. And between, him or Bruno or, there isn't too many out there that are big in the e-boating space, maybe Jeff from Plug Boats, but there's only a handful of them that I can really have good, fruitful conversations with. And me and him, we just get trapped in conversation that entire week. It was awesome. And he recorded a ton of content. We had some kind of just casual fireside chats just about the industry. We kind of bantered a little bit back and forth about hydrogen. But no, it was really cool hanging out with him. I learned some stuff about boating from him. He's been boating forever. I'm a noob when it comes to boating. And he's also been in the electric space for a while. He's been doing this a little longer than us, and he's seen a lot. He's spent a lot of time in Europe getting exposure on stuff up there. But yeah, it was some awesome conversation. We had some fun out on some boats, and he's just the biggest supporter of what we're doing, because it takes, some pretty crazy people to jump into this space this early with where we're at in the industry. We've got to support each other, and he is all about the mission, man. Huge fan of his.
All right, that's going to be it. You've been listening to the Electrified Marina Podcast, brought to you by us, the Electrified Marina, and electrifiedmarina.com. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please share with your friends. Please leave a comment or a question or literally anything. Write the numbers 1 through 5 in the comment section of the YouTube video, and that will help us reach more people and spread our message.
And don't forget about the referral program too. Keep an eye on our website, sign up for the newsletter, but we'll be sending out the link on there. We've got a handful already ready to go, but yeah, get paid to help spread the word.
All right, everybody, thanks for listening and watching, and we'll see you next time.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.